My name is Mike Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent and teaching instructor with IRS. Welcome to my YouTube station. It's the home of the 5-minute or less video. I can tell you everything you need to know in the next 5 minutes. I worked at IRS for a decade. I've been in private practice for 4 decades. I've been doing this 50 years. Many of you have seen me on television and you've come to my YouTube station. I always appreciate subscriptions at the end. Thank you. You can see my whole team of former IRS agents on there. We have got over about 250 years of direct IRS work experience. I don't know any team that probably has more IRS experience than this firm. Today what I want to talk to you about, I got to read it to make sure I get it right. Payroll tax settlements programs, and what are they and how do you qualify? Payroll taxes. So I worked, thousands and thousands of these cases, payroll taxes. It's the number one case at IRS that they jump on. Why? It's not a tax. It's money that you, in fact, held in trust, and they want that money back. The people have already got their refunds. IRS is always a year behind, and generally you've spent the money on something else. So, what do? IRS comes after those hard. They usually put higher graded people on those. But what programs are available, and what should you do if you owe these payroll taxes? So when I would knock on the door and come out, the first two things I would ask is, are you current on your filings, and are you current right now making your tax deposit? So if you're hearing this today and you want IRS to work with you, you must do one of two things. You must get all your tax returns filed and at least this week make a federal tax deposit so IRS will work with you. Those things you want to do. IRS wants to draw a line in the sand and make sure you're not going to incur any more debt. You're going to be filing, and now they can work your tax, in the box. That means if we're front end covered, they want to work in the box. So after you get your tax returns filed and you make your first estimate, what's IRS going to do? They're going to ask you for 2 financial statements. They're going to ask you for a business financial statement on a 433A, and they're going to ask you for a business financial statement on a 433B. When IRS gets that information, there's one of 3 categories that you're going to wind up going into with the agent. Your case is either going to be in hardship, where IRS will suspend the back tax and bring them back later for you to pay, because right now they're looking at your financial statement and you're seeing there's nothing that they can do. IRS is going to look closely at your income and expense ratios in your business and try to get a monthly payment for you. So now not only are you going to have to stay current, you're going to have to make a back payment. And third, you have the option of doing an offer and compromise, where you can go ahead and settle your tax debt for pennies on a dollar if you qualify. But before you start jumping up and down, you offer and compromise. It's a really tight program. IRS is going to look both at you personally and your business for the offer to see if you meet those standards. So what are the 3 ways, the 3 programs IRS has for you? They're going to be currently non-collectible, which means they're going to go ahead and suspend this some of that debt and bring it back later to pay. Maybe a couple years they'll either try to get a payment agreement, or you can do an offer and compromise to settle your debt. If you think you're going to do your offer for the business and your personal by itself and settle, there ain't no way. I taught this offer and compromise program. With this pen like this, accepted them and denied them. They're a really mess to work for businesses. If you are, be very patient and put your 656, that is your offer form, together and your financial statements and give to IRS. But those are the 3 programs that you have available. If you owe a lot of money, don't even bother doing this yourself. That's where you really say, I better get someone. If you owe under $50,000, you can do this yourself. Just put it together. IRS goes through a lot of laborious stuff to get offers and compromise accepted. Myself, I've worked a ton of them. Peter Salinger of my office has worked over 2,500 offers and compromise while he was working at IRS. We're two of the foremost authorities of offers and compromise that you will find. But anyway, those are the 3 programs. If you're going to hire someone to do this, make sure they have a lot of experience, a ton of experience. They know the offer and compromise program back and forth. And do not give your money, like if we were to take this case, for instance, I've got to look at your financial statement to determine whether I either want the case. What that means to you, if you're going to hire someone else, make sure you give them the financial statements. It's raining here. I'm just looking out the window really hard. I'm in South Florida. It is pouring. We got flooded yesterday. Like cars were stuck. People were crawling out of their car windows to get home and swimming, honest to God. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you know the program really, really well. I just want to put one formula out there for you to know. If you were to add up your personal assets and your business assets, if you add those two together and you can pay the tax, IRS is not going to accept the offer and compromise. It's for a person in a business who's never going to be able to pay the tax debt. The other question you really need to ask yourself is, should I still be in business? I've knocked on doors, and when the Titanic was going down, you know what the captain of the Titanic did? He asked the orchestra who was sitting outside while the Titanic was going down. He says, play the music louder. Make sure you don't play your music louder and someone maybe come in very objective and ask you whether you need to stay in business. Anyway, that's the best I got. Please give me a subscription. I gave you everything I had today, but you do have options. Thank you for listening.